Hello and welcome to Owl's Air Guns. In this episode, we have a Crosman 2240 CO2 gun that is leaking. Not an uncommon problem, repair issue potentially with CO2 guns, so we're going to go ahead and take this apart, see if we can't diagnose and repair that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Obviously, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we're clear. Boom. We are going to go ahead and remove the cartridge. I had wanted to be certain that the cartridge was fully seated, so when I did this, I really cranked it down more than I would normally do, and because of that, I did want to start it with the screwdriver and taking that off. Now, one of the things I wanted to look at was this CO2 capsule. Let me see if I can get that to focus. You know, it looks like we have a good puncture, and I don't see anything strange at the front of this. So I don't know that we're going to see a problem right there. But ultimately, the leak has to be either at the front of the valve or within the valve that it's letting the gas out. And the valve's located right here. So in order to get to it and get to the valve, we're going to go ahead and pretty much take the pistol apart here. First thing I'm going to do is get a parts container handy so that we have something to put this in. Just a second. Okay, we got something for our parts. Let's go ahead and remove the bottom here. Now that does not look like the old fastener. Looks like it'd be just as easy for this because I don't think the square bit fits that anymore. No, it does not. Looks like a good old Phillips bit. It's going to be the ticket there. Yep. I hate, personally, let's get this one started, relying on Phillips for stuff like this because we're at a funny angle and it's just too easy, in my opinion, to mess up the heads on these. Now, if these are quality screws, and you use a quality screwdriver and are careful, we should be okay. Remember, as you take these pieces apart, we do have our safety spring and detent that will try very hard to get lost. Let me get that guy out right there. You guys may get to see the back of my head tonight. They gave us plenty of thread there. Oops, sorry. Okay, get this back one. Oop, back one fell out on me. Alright, now we do the gentle remove. We have our spring right there. Detent ball. Okay, so we captured our safety ball and our spring. We'll go ahead and set this piece aside. Looking inside there, if you haven't taken one apart before, we can actually see our valve sitting right in there. And we're going to go ahead and take this top part off next. Okay, first thing we're going to do is take our sight off. Easiest way to take these off is just get yourself a dowel, piece of wood, or I also have a nice little piece of brass that I use, but for plastic the wood's better. Then get yourself a rubber mallet, boom, tap that, off they jump. Put that in there. I don't think we'll need those again. We can set those away. Oops, keep bumping that tripod, don't I? Okay, now, what are we dealing with here? All right. As we were talking about in the discussion, it seems that they've changed a lot of these fasteners. So we're kind of try as we go here. Woo! Well, that one's sitting in there awful tight, huh? All right. This one in here used to be a, oh shoot, I have no way to hold that back anymore, do I? I guess I can take out the back and then I won't have a spring. That used to be a .050 inches, and that was always a problem. What I've heard is it's a 1/16 now, but I haven't confirmed that. Also looks like they changed the screw in the back of the rear sight here too. Much larger head on it. I like that. So far so good. Now the thing that'll be interesting to see is, were these fasteners changed, intentionally as part of the transition in production? Or is it a matter of, excuse me, just a moment. That's what I get for talking and doing things at the same time. Or is it simply how they're going to be built now? Did I let my spring get away? All right, let me run down my spring real quick. Well, I can honestly say I seem to have a gift for losing hammer springs lately. So I will locate that in just a bit. But that lets me push this back so we can find out just what kind of a piece we're dealing with. I need to grab my glasses again. Let's see what kind of Allen key we have here. Certainly bigger than the 050. Whoa, much bigger than this guy. Okay. Wonder if they changed it to metric. And that is one thing I hope they didn't do that I always loathe, is if they mix them to where we're inch and metric both. Now I don't see, golly. Might have to go grab my other set here. Because this is a fairly small head, you really want to be careful not to strip this thing. Well, happened to find random wrench that fit it. And since we're on a mission here, we're just going to keep moving forward. Okay, so now that is changed, and actually that's a change that I would support. I always felt like that small Allen key was a big source of problems. Okay, when we take that apart, of course, we have our transfer port. We have our screw that we want to be careful not to lose. And we have our two-piece plastic breech. hammer pin, hammer. Ooh, nicely finished. Some kind of phosphate finish. What is that? I don't know. It's nice. Okay. Also have a, well, I think they call this a transfer sleeve. It's almost like a gasket that sits in there between the transfer port and the valve. You can see this valve looks like it's pretty well lined up in there, centered as far as being in the middle of that. So that was good. Looks like they use a different screw here too. I would call that a product improvement. The old screw was considerably smaller than that hole, so there was a great deal of slop back and forth. I don't know if this straight plate will do it for me or not. I might have to switch it. Yeah, it's a little too fat. Let me get a thinner. Oops, sorry. Thinner blade. The only one that's not bent. Okay. All right, now what we're going to do is go ahead and loosen this bottom valve retainer screw. I don't know that that's Crosman's name for it, but boy, is that thin enough? Yeah, I'm in there. Okay. Oop. Alrighty, and that's just a little bit short guy. And as they say in France, Veolia. Actually, I think that's voila. Voila? Voila? Help me out, French people. All right, I see a difference. That seal, first I thought they didn't have one in there. They have a seal in there, all right, but it's very different than any seal I've seen on the front of one of these before. Golly, let me grab another valve and I'll show you what it normally looks like. But that's a different seal they have on the front of it. And I've got to use some magnification here. Has that thing got a nick? Could have something under it too. Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, this is the first area I'm suspicious of. And if this, let's go and move that again, sorry. If this seal is out of spec, well, that's probably why we're leaking. So let me see if I got another seal and we can swap them real quick. Okay, part of how I was able to identify quickly that they had changed it is this is the one we just got out of the new pistol, and this is the traditional Crosman 2240. Actually, they label it as a 2260 valve in the nomenclature, I believe, in the part number. But you always see this kind of flesh tan colored thing. It's been that way for years. So at first I thought maybe they missed it, but no, it's clear now. Probably made of a different stuff. And we can fish it out there and see about sizing. But first thing I'm going to do is just pull the one out of here and swap it. And we'll reassemble the pistol and see if that was the problem. Okay, well, I don't know if that shows up very well against anything, but did go ahead and swap them. This one appeared to be a little bit thicker. I didn't pull out the calipers and measure it. Seemed to be thicker and a little bit softer. I don't know. So anyway, we'll go ahead and pop her back together real quick and see if we still leak. You know, while we're in here, part of this conversation has been about quality of construction as it moves. This is an older Crosman valve, and this is the one that came out of our Chinese production gun. What I would say, looking at them both, this one feels lighter, and this doesn't have all of the parts in it, so that's interesting. But as far as machining, this seems really well finished and machined. So yeah, let's I mean, looking at this, I would have no complaints at all. So let's hope that when we switch that gasket, we solved our problem. I'll quit beating up the tripod and put the gun back together here. Thanks. Okay, we have her back together and functioning. I went ahead and tightened her down, put a couple of pellets through it. At first, I thought I could hear it leaking. I tightened it down a bit more, and I don't hear it leaking right now, but I will let it set overnight and see if she still has gas in it in the morning. I've decided a couple of things. One, I saw product improvements. I saw a number of things that I've always wanted to see changed actually be changed. They improved the breech screw. That is a 1/16 head. The screw itself is more substantial. I assume the threading is the same for backwards compatibility, but yeah, they used, in my opinion, a better screw there. Also, the screw on the bottom of the CO2 valve is much improved, in my opinion. Also, it looked like they increased the size of the safety detent ball slightly, so it is not quite as obnoxious and easy to get away from you. Clearly, we saw they're using a different material for this front breech seal. We haven't been inside the valve yet. My thinking is this. I see what seemed to be an effort at legitimate product improvements, so I'm going to write off whatever this leak is to growing pains in terms of, I see a company here that took a product that's been produced for a long time. They're trying to produce it overseas now in a new area. They're trying to fix some of the long-term weaknesses at the same time. So yeah, I support that. Now, I have decided about this pistol. If it leaks tomorrow, I'm probably going to go ahead and send it back and get a new one, because that would mean the leak was further along in the valve. And also, I'm very curious what the new one would look like. I get the feeling that they may be in change right now. And, you know, I saw different finishes on a number of the components. The hammer spring, or the hammer, was finished differently. The sear had a different finish on it. Many of the parts, you know, seem to be changing, and they seem to be changing for the better. So it's funny, the defective or broken pistol ended up leaving me more hopeful than I would have guessed. So I will let everybody know if this thing leaks in the morning, and if it's going back to ultimately Crosman via Amazon, or if we're going to go ahead and keep working with this one. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one.